doing whatever. And oh, gee, YouTube's got that messed up now too. Wonderful. Okay. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. We'll wait for my screen. 20 seconds in. Let's see. Come on, censorship police. Let's go. 35. 40. 45. Oh my God, how did I get there? 50 seconds. Okay, a bunch of you were saying 5 by 5. I'm still waiting for my screen. Oh, another ad. Wonderful. Now I get 2 of them. Okay, let's get out of that. Move this up. Good. Okay. And I see a bunch of you guys are saying 5 by 5, so that's good. Nothing like I have now been on a live stream for a minute 20 seconds. That's YouTube has got everything possible messed up. It's hilarious every time. Those of you guys that are creators know what your dashboard is. Every time I go in there, it says you don't have permission to look at this page. Hit refresh, and of course you're there. Want to go tell YouTube, hey, you got a problem here. Sign in. Click on sign in, even though I'm already signed in. That doesn't work. A bunch of you guys probably heard about the Saturday live stream where I was talking about a dozen small channels to go watch. And a lot of you guys went and subscribed to them. And then Saturday night, YouTube said, we're going to unsubscribe you from all of these. I looked at my channel that day. Lost about 40 subscribers that day. Most of them came back the next day. But it's like, it drives me nuts to see what they do. It's like, your business. Google's a business. And they do anything and everything they can to shoot themselves in the foot. Gee, we don't want people watching videos. How the hell do you think you make money, Google? You know all those ads that irritate us? You get paid on those, remember? Unbelievable. So, yeah, sorry. And then, of course, here, waiting for a minute and a half before I could actually start the live stream because got to make sure we have ample time for all the, censorship Nazis to make sure that I don't say anything that offends their poor little feelings. Yeah, Joe Biden sucks. Okay, no, there you go. Democrats deserve a rotten hell. How about that for? There you go. Liberals, execution is too good for them. And I'm still here, Google. There you go. All right. So happy Tuesday night. It was a productive day around here. A lot of hands and knees stuff today. No, not Stormy Daniels story time. Burning holes in all my landscape fabric or weed barrier, whatever you want to call it, to plant. So Mrs. P and I got our tomatoes in today and our banana peppers in today. The bell peppers will probably go in tomorrow or Thursday, depending on weather. Corn and beans still have to go in. Cucumbers will be a couple of weeks. So that was that. So yes, second shower for the day. Otherwise, that'd have been nice and muddy for this, but because it's been raining here, so makes for softer soil to plant in. That helped. But yeah. So getting all the stuff out, it's like, oh, okay, clean all the leaves out of the tomato cages, do that sort of stuff. You all know this. We're all doing the same thing. It's one of y'all, I think it was Tony DG, who was saying she got out and rototilled her garden today. Yeah, I mean, at this point, pretty much all of us, even those in Maine and International Falls and Montana, probably are in the garden doing something. Maybe not planting yet, but certainly doing something. So. Motimer, the H in politician, stands for honesty. Good point. And for all those that are spelling impaired, there is no H in politician. But other than that, yeah, the fun one today to watch was political, of course. Jack Smith's case against Donald Trump. basically went up in smoke today. That was supposed to start in about 2 weeks, and the judge postponed that trial indefinitely, which means basically it's over. So that one's done. So now we'll see how soon it is until Jack Smith winds up prosecuted for falsifying evidence and tampering with evidence. If you know that came out over the weekend, that all those classified documents that Trump was supposedly storing in Mar-a-Lago, yeah, the FBI mishandled those and then lied about it. And Jack Smith lied to a judge about it. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a problem there. And then, of course, you had today's lovely testimony from Stormy Daniels, the porn star who's got impeccable credibility, right? Okay. And was tripping over her tongue and contradicting herself left and right. So we'll see how fast that one winds up getting tossed out of court. I mean, it's funny. Michael Cohen is certainly looking like he's guilty because pretty much every witness so far, all the witnesses so far have been prosecution's witnesses, have basically said Trump didn't know anything about this and Michael Cohen did it all on his own. And then Stormy Daniels is trying to come up with a reason, trying to come up with some sort of story that there was actually some sort of encounter, because she can't even get the facts straight on that. Reminds me of somebody else. What was her name? E. Jean Carroll? I was raped sometime back in the 90s. I don't remember what year it was, but Stormy Daniels has about that much credibility too. So we'll see. But the fun part about it is, the more this stuff drags on, the better it is for Trump, because the old adage, any publicity is good publicity. I mean, they tried this in 2016 to totally run his name through the mud and smear him, and Hillary Clinton lost big time. What do you think is going to happen in 2020? This is all free advertising for Trump. I mean, it's like his campaign slogan or whatever you want, the comment that he made, they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, I just stand in the way. This is just proof of it all. And everybody's going, you know what? He's right. I think I'll vote for him. Where everybody says, oh, the only reason Biden won was because of the anti-Trump vote. The reason Trump's going to win is a lot of the anti-Biden vote. It turned out today that one of the witnesses or one of the prosecutors, I forget, on Alvin Bragg's team is a donor to the Biden campaign. Now, okay, not 4 years ago, now, okay, politically motivated. Yeah, politics was the big talk of the town today for what little time I had to look at the news. So I had to pay attention to what's going on with these idiots in college, or what's going on in Russia, Ukraine. I mean, I'm just done with that. It's like, okay, whatever. Congress pisses away more money, then I'll get bitching. If Congress sends our troops there, I'm really going to get pissed. So, all right, let's get into some Q&A here. As per normal, if you got questions for me, please put it in all caps. It just makes it easier for me to find the questions. The other thing is, please be on your best behavior in here, PG-13 type stuff. Okay, if you got disagreements, that's fine. Just be civil about it. You want to be rude? Leave. Okay, you don't want to leave? We'll do it for you. No problem. Everybody says, oh, that's censorship. No. Okay, you can't yell fire in a movie theater. Okay. And you can't call somebody an asshole in this live stream. It's pretty much how it goes. My house, my rules. Don't like it. Goodbye. All right, let's get into the questions here. And we'll see what we got. Okay, there's all the 5x5. So we're going to the top. Here we go. Pennsylvania country girl. Can't be here tonight. Watching storms near where my son in Columbus, Ohio. Stay safe, y'all, in that region. Yeah. What is it? You got like Michigan, Indiana, Ohio is getting whacked today. So, pray to God we don't see a bunch of tornadoes. I mean, I haven't heard anything from my daughter, so maybe it's not hitting Indianapolis because, oh yes, there's the PBJ is down at Indianapolis. She starts school on Monday at Butler. You guys know that. So she's finally got everything done, moved, getting ready, start school. So she's getting herself all set and go. So mission accomplished. My kid did it. I still get the phone calls, Dad, how do I do this? But some of it is like, okay, you do this, and some of it's you got to figure this one out yourself. So that's it. Vicky Savage, Screw Tube does not have everything messed up. You're with us. Who knows how long that lasts? Okay, I mean, eventually they'll come back and go, you know what? Channels that people watch, we don't want them on YouTube anymore. We just want the channels that nobody watches. We'll keep them making videos. That's it. The channels that you should watch, they are taking subscribers away from. Makes no sense to me. I mean, again, talk about those dozen. And you guys probably put another 100 channels in there. I don't know them all, okay? But those are a dozen that I had watched, and I like their stuff. And you think YouTube be thrilled going, hey, you know what? We need more content creators that put out good stuff. Now we'll make sure nobody watches them. I mean, remember how many of us were told to get business majors in the 80s and 90s? Like everybody, okay? I swear now YouTube's going, gee, you've got a degree in Latin American dance? Cool, let's put you in front of our marketing department. Liberal logic, it doesn't exist. Farm Ranch Homestead, some of those small channels lost hundreds of subscribers. In some cases, it was nearly half of their subscriber count. Oh, yeah. I was watching one of them. Now I can't remember which one it was. And she was saying that they actually took out not only from the level they were at on Saturday morning, but on Sunday morning, they actually had less than they had on Saturday morning. After I did, they started taking other people away. It makes no freaking sense to me. The idiots that live in Silicon Valley, manning the Titanic would have been a promotion. Celebrating farm life. They don't know how this community works. We got this. Good. Oh, yeah. Trust me. Watching the video as, we all cover each other. It's like somebody... Did you ever notice this? And this happens to with a lot of content creators and subscribers, of course. Somebody gets wronged in this community, proper community, and man, does everybody else raise hell to fix that fast. So, yeah. Don't piss us off. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about all of us. Prep Rebel. YouTube tried to unsubscribe me from a lot of channels, but I check every morning. I think YouTube doesn't like it. I do the same thing. I mean, I've got my list of probably about 40 channels that I'm subscribed to, and other ones that I'll watch and recommend it. And I literally know when these people make video. I mean, the first thing I do in the morning, I make my video, and the first one I go watch is Poplar. Why? Because I know he puts up a video around 6 o'clock every morning. Okay, then I can go through that. It's like, all right, if I want to go see Jason or something like that, I know he's going to live stream right after me tonight. That I know when these people do things. But Tara usually puts up her videos somewhere around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I know if I'm sitting around. I mean, they put that little blue dot next to them. I mean, I know the list. And it's like, wait a minute. Where's this one today? And go back and sure enough, you're unsubscribed. It's like, hey, YouTube, right here. I'm resubscribed. Okay. Storm Chasing Gal, Pinball, are there really 1,000 of our soldiers held hostage in Iraq? I don't know. I've heard rumblings of this. Of course, the thing is this, we'll never hear it out of the mainstream media because they wouldn't want to say anything that might hurt Joe's chances. So you hear it on the secondary media, and then everybody questions the validity of it. So I don't know. It's interesting, but y'all know as well as I do how much BS that you find out there. And, again, as I say, for me to trust the story, I need to find it in 3 different sources. If I find it in 3 different sources, then I'm going to believe it. Marty McElreath, hello, Mr. P from Knoxville. Hope all is well. Hello, my southern neighbor. You are 45 minutes to an hour south of me. Uh, Motorist comment makes me laugh. Let's see. Gypsy Lady 34 received an Opus grant of a $1,200 or 1,200 watt solar generator. Thanks for telling us about the program. Shirley from Kalamazoo. Good. Congratulations. I'm glad you got that. Opus has done a good job with that. Helping people out with some power. And, I've recommended to you guys many times the Opus Helps program. Certainly take advantage of that. Uh, it gets you started. Let's put it that way. Caveman look. To post on YouTube, it takes me about 10 minutes. I'm on the banned list. I've actually got lucky. I've now got to, believe it or not, notice how we haven't been on the backup channel in forever? I've gone 15 months, guys, without a strike. I don't know how that's happened. But yes, for some reason, I say that I'll probably get one tomorrow. Original one shot, one kill. Pinball, what do I think of the reports of French Foreign Legion troops in Ukraine? I don't know. Okay. I mean, I've seen all this stuff. This has been rolling out since this weekend that Germany's got troops, that France has got troops. I mean, that the US has troops in Ukraine. I I don't know. And the only thing I'll bring up on that is remember how Vietnam started for us. You know, it was private contractors, it was CIA, and then all of a sudden one day it's like, well, we're going to send regular troops and we're going to draft people. It wouldn't surprise me that it's the same thing going on now. That we've got the mercenaries, the like I said, French Foreign Legion, the private contractors, uh, that are going in. It wouldn't surprise me that there's already people there. I mean, we know that we've had U.S. troops get restationed basically all around the border. The bigger issue is, was it Niger? I think it was that basically the country kicked the U.S. out after we built them military bases, and they're moving the Russians in. Thanks a lot. But yeah, there was some sort of report that there's U.S. military prisoners now being held by Niger. I've seen some of these stories, and some of them are scary if they're true. Uh, Tony DG, the rototiller I used today was electric. I used my Opus to power it, went from 100 to 93. Nice little generator. Yeah, I've got a big gas powered generator. I've also got a smaller electric one, and I do exactly the same thing you. Rather than running extension cords from the house 200 feet or whatever to a generator, it's like, no, I just take a 20-foot extension cord out there, put the generator in there, zoom, 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 and I'm done. So yeah, works well. I mean, springtime, my little generator, that's good for like prepping soil and stuff like that. It's not good for the beginning of the year. Not when I'm trying to turn under leaves and grass clippings and compost and God knows what else in there. No, when I'm trying to top dress, yeah, then it's better. But that's my garden, so. Gene HT, thank you for the super sticker there for Snow White and her animals. We know who that is. Okay. Farm Ranch, thoughts and prayers for those affected by the storms in Michigan and Indiana today, Oklahoma yesterday. About 30 to 40 were trapped in a FedEx facility in Michigan today. Jeez. Unbelievable. Yeah, we had storms come through last night here, and I got home last night about 10 o'clock, and you could see the lightning all over the place. We were supposed to have heavy storms, and they didn't finally hit until probably a little after midnight, maybe 1 o'clock or whatever. But when it came down, it was coming down in buckets. It was enough to wake everybody up. I looked at the pond this morning, and I told Mrs. P, I said, it really came down because we added a lot of water to the pond. RL pinball. I see in CL Farm and Garden section. Okay, I'm not sure what CL is. 34% 5-gallon hydrogen peroxide to be diluted for crops. Will over-the-counter hydrogen peroxide help with their gardens as an oxidizer? When and why? Uh, I I've never used it. Okay, I've never put hydrogen peroxide on my gardens. I really don't know what the purpose of it is. The only thing I'm thinking here is you probably got to use a lot. I mean, if they're talking about 5-gallon buckets of it, okay. You go to CVS or something, you get these bottles that are this big, cost you a few bucks. Thinking to myself, that's a lot of freaking money. So I that one I'm not going to be able to give you an answer to just because I've never used it. I don't know. I mean, maybe it is, but I maybe there's some great benefit. I don't know. Wish I knew everything. I don't. Joseph Cook ordered some pool shock for water purification backup. Have 3 different ways to do it: backup plus backup plus backup. Good idea. Okay. And I will give you this as why pool shock. Okay. You'll hear a lot of people say, have bleach, have bleach, have bleach. The problem is bleach, liquid bleach, loses its potency over time. The pool shock or the bleach tablets or something don't. So if you're looking for something for long-term storage, don't store liquid bleach. Store the tablets or the pool shock or something. The other thing is too, they don't leak. Okay, if it's a hockey puck looking thing, okay, you're not going to spill it by accident. Okay, if it drops on the floor and breaks, oh fine, you get a broom. Okay, you drop in a bottle of bleach and it breaks, and you got a stinky mess cleaning up. So, yeah, pool shock, bleach tabs, good idea. Okay, we shot to the bottom. That's why I can't go anywhere. Okay, as far as I can go up here. Oh. Gotta find where it was. There we go. Tony DG, that woman is so lying. When you were assaulted, you remember day, date, and time, what you were wearing, everything. You never forget. Exactly. Okay. I mean, and anybody that can't see through that, there's a lot of things that we remember. I mean, I'm betting we can all remember, if we're old enough, where we were when we heard Reagan was shot. Okay, I wasn't old enough for Kennedy, so I mean I wasn't born yet, but I can remember where I was when I heard Reagan was shot. I can remember where I was when the 9/11, when the plane hit 9/11. You remember those things. I'm taking a bet that a woman's going to remember when she was raped. You know, down to the color of socks she was wearing, the date, the time, the location, whether it was rainy or sunny outside. She could probably tell you the weather forecast, the weather report better than a meteorologist could. And when somebody comes up and can't remember what year it was, you have no credibility. I'm sorry. Okay. Snakebite, how is the fish pond going? Well, like I said, added a lot of water yesterday. I was happy. My new drain is working fabulously, so that's good. The fish are probably 6 to 8 inches long now. They still need some girth to them. They're 1 year old, basically. They were fingerlings last year. But I figure by the end of the year, end of this summer, I'm waiting to see if we get a spawn out of them this year, 1 year old fish. Don't know. Haven't seen any bluegill beds yet. Depending, the water's clear enough, I can see the fish. If Mrs. P go out and feed them, you can watch them all, boil. We'll see. I can kind of get an idea of how many are in there and how well they're growing. If I've got to, go fishing and pull a few of them out. We'll see. But I figure probably by the end of this summer, I might have to go fishing in there. Gee, that sucks, doesn't it? Joseph Cook, YouTube is distorting my picture. Looks fine on my side, so I don't know. But crystal clear, do I grow medicinal herbs? Yeah, but hidden in plain sight. I've done videos on this. Uh, we all grow medicinal herbs. You may not know it, but you got dandelions in your yard, medicinal. You got plantain in your yard, those wide broadleaf weeds, medicinal. You got purple coneflowers out in your yard, medicinal. There's a lot of things that you grow that you might not even realize have medicinal value to them. We all do. Now, am I growing? I don't know. I can't even think of something. Jewelweed, for example. Okay, to get rid of poison ivy. No, I'm not. Okay, but do I have a bunch of other stuff that A, looks nice as in the landscape, but B, I know has other uses? Absolutely. Kevin Little, ever made, had, beet kvass. Made 2 quarts. It's a good, healthy, fermented drink. Yeah, we get it every time we go to the Russian grocery, and we don't actually. Kvass isn't made from beets. You can make it from anything, but it's actually made from like a dark bread. I mean, when I make it here, it's pumpernickel bread and raisins is what you use to make it, and then uh, carbonated and everything like that. It's got a very unique taste, but it's very good. But no, I've never made beet kvass. Yeah, Brandon Thompson. I should grow my full beard out like I had in the video I played the other day showing your first video. I had it for a while. It gets when it starts getting long, it gets tough to manage. So this is a little easier. It's a little cleaner. Uh, oh, excuse me. Lightning Josie, hi Pinball. Have you encountered security certificate expired issue with Compare Silver Prices website? Do you have an alternative for use? No, I never have. I don't know. I mean, again, I know what the websites are. I mean, I've got them in my favorites or on my toolbar right on the top of my computer here. So it's like I can go from SD Bullion to BGASC to JM Bullion to, you know, uh, whatever. I want money metals or whatever. I mean, I can just bounce through them to look at them. But no, I've never got a security certificate issue. Jet, rain south of Indy, blue skies in town. Okay, so hopefully she's having decent weather, but thank God all her furniture's in. Prayerful EA, thank you for best wishes to PBJ. Cutie, Pinball, how are you able to retire? I remember you said you were once homeless. What age is right if you were debt free? How was I able to retire? I was working 3 jobs. Okay. I had 2, and Mrs. P and I owned a company. We put in for 8 years, 18-hour days, 7 days a week. That was it. And every penny we had got put in the house, did everything. Now, you got to remember this too. We sold the house that we had in Vegas for a nice profit. Mrs. P had sold her apartment in Russia. That brought in about 100 grand. Okay. We bought the condo that we had in Vegas and Airbnb that brought in money. We sold that for a profit. We moved out here. We bought a inexpensive house. I mean, you guys know I paid $218 for this place. Okay. And worked and worked and worked and worked and put everything away that we could. Now, do I make money off of YouTube? Yes. Am I getting rich off of YouTube? No. Okay. But yeah, this is still an income source for me. So, and then Mrs. P and I have our savings and our investments that wind up providing us with enough to live. That was basically it. But yeah, I mean, when everybody says, oh, I can't do it. Oh yeah, you can. I went from homeless to retired in 10 years. Thank you. And this house is paid off. Not patting myself on the back or anything. I'm just telling you guys it can be done. If you know, one of the greatest lines I ever heard, and this was when I was just starting out as a broker. And the boss said to me, he goes, if you commit to busting your ass and working as hard as you can for the next 3 years, you won't ever have to worry about working hard again. And that was it. He was right, you know. And I remembered that. And I was like, okay, when I got out of the homeless situation, I'm like, all right, I'm going to bust my ass so I don't have to. And it wasn't 3 years, it was about seven. I think it was 7.5. And I'm like, finally, I'm done. I don't need to do. And you know, am I going to go buy a yacht? No. Okay, don't need to. But do I have enough money where I can afford my bills? What little I have anymore. Okay, or go to the store if I need to. Yeah. Right. Can I? Am I going to do something stupid? You know, a trip around the world, a trip to Europe, or something like that? No. Okay, it's not in my mentality anyway. And then again, as we've said many times, I don't have squat for bills. You know, so there's not a whole lot you got to worry about spending money on if you don't have any bills. Uh Buzzard, hey Pinball, I was thinking about you today. Looking slimmer each week. Keep it up. I was 285.4 this weekend. That was the lowest I've been since we've started this, so that was good. Matt Dillon, any thoughts on all the food recalls? Yeah, what the hell is the FDA doing? You know, why is it that every other day we're hearing about a ground beef recall or a salmonella thing or listeria or some, you know, there's some sort of food issue every day. And I'm like, where's the FDA in all this? I mean, another three-letter organization that just needs to be abandoned because they don't do anything. You know, what's, please, when we have hundreds of food recalls every year, what are you doing? Obviously, you're not doing the inspections that you think you are. You know? Annie, when do I ring my onions and how? Okay, so if anybody watches Hollis and Nancy's Homestead, okay, if you don't, I really encourage it. I mean, what's cool about their videos, it takes them a year to make their videos. I'll give you this, to make one video, because they will show you in one video everywhere from preparing the soil to harvesting on one thing. So it would be, okay, here, I'm making onions. They will go from how Hollis prepares his gardens for planting onions. He will show how he plants the onions, what he fertilizes with, the spacings, yada, yada, yada. He will show how he fertilizes it, when he gives it a haircut, et cetera, et cetera. All the way down to the very end of the video, same stuff, where he's showing how to, you know, when he harvests, what his harvest is. It's kind of cool that he does that. Okay, I can't imagine the storage nightmare that is. It's like, okay, you got editing 6 videos together that you made over the course of 6 months, you know, and it's like, oh, Monday we're going to do cabbage, Tuesday we're going to do onions, Wednesday we're going to do carrots, whatever, and it's just crazy. Okay, but really good channel. And Hollis was the first one that I've ever seen come up with ringing onions. And what he does, he takes a butter knife, okay, and literally bends like the top quarter of it into a right angle. And then he'll scrape the dirt away from the bulb of the onion. When it starts bulbing, that's when you do this, okay? And what he's doing is he's easing the pressure from the soil on the bulb so the bulb has more room to grow. So I tried this. Never heard it before. Last year was the first time I tried it. I'll be damned if it didn't work. You know, and all of a sudden my onions were bigger. And I was like, this is a good idea. So, but you ask when you do it, when they start bulbing. Okay, so that's it. You know, onions are one of those things where you feed this time of year, I'm feeding onions nitrogen like crazy. Okay, urine. As soon as they start to bulb, you know, and you'll know when they start to bulb because you'll start to see the soil crack around them. That's when you stop the nitrogen. You don't want any more green growth, and that's when you start hitting them with phosphorus and potassium. You know, hopefully you put dry stuff in there, bone meal, but I make banana peels and chicken bones. Hopefully you put that in the soil before you plant it, so that's the slow release stuff. But then you're talking about some liquid phosphorus or liquid potassium fertilizers. That's what you're going to be adding once they start bulbing. Long answer to a short question, huh? Mimi's Place. Hi, Mr. Pinball. I gained 600 subs from your video on Saturday and lost 400. Yeah, talked about this at the top. I heard anyone who was featured on your channel has lost the, okay, I don't know what, Ertzbis, whatever that means. Someone else said, I'm assuming that it's a glitch and we'll get them back. I'm hoping it is. I mean, because I really feel bad about trying to help everybody out. Like it winds up kicking them in the ass because YouTube screwed them. But at least people know about these channels now and they can go back and resubscribe to them. Because, like I said at the top, it's amazing how YouTube does not want people to watch good videos. I just, that's how they make money. Hey, censorship Nazis, you know where your paycheck comes from? It's from the ads that you sell. You don't have people watching videos. You don't get a paycheck, chump. Shirley, Pinball, how many pepper plants do I need to plant for a family of 4 that love stuffed peppers? Let's see, I'm planting 96 this year. And that's just bell peppers. Okay. I'm also planting 120 lunchbox peppers. We planted a bunch of banana peppers and a couple of jalapeno plants too. That that Mountaintop Reps had extras, so he gave me two extra jalapeno plants. Yeah, if you're gonna eat, I mean, let me say this. Okay, if you're a family of 4, and let's say that I'm gonna take a guess. It's mom, dad, and 2 tweens. Okay, just so I'm gonna guess that between the 4 of you, you probably need 7 peppers for a meal. Okay, figuring dad eats 2, maybe 3, mom eats 2, the kids eat each one, so 6 or 7 peppers. Okay, that's what you're gonna get off of one plant. If you're really good at growing peppers. So let's say that's what you get off of 2 plants. Okay, if you've got 20 plants, that means you're going to have enough peppers to make 10 meals. How often do you want to eat stuffed peppers? Okay, if you want to have them once a week, yeah, you'll have peppers through, I don't know, from harvest time through Christmas, and then nothing from Christmas to harvest time again. People don't realize how much food we eat. I've mentioned this many times. The average American eats 2,000 pounds of food a year. It's a lot. You look at your gardens and you think, oh my God, I'm growing a ton of food. You really want to see how much food you're eating? Try eating just out of your garden for a month. I'll bet you don't make it 2 weeks. Okay, because you just don't have enough food. And that's why all this time that we have now to grow and grow and store is good. I mean, I've got a cabinet full of potatoes over here. I'm on a diet. I can't eat potatoes. Guess what? I still planted potatoes. Why? Because they will all get canned, all get stored, and they will be there in case anything happens. And then, gee, I just happen to have 160 quarts of potatoes. Okay, I'm good. I have food. Was planting today, and I was out burning holes in the landscape fabric, like I said. And I showed Mrs. P. I said, this section right here is beans. Just one is black beans, and one is northern beans, lima beans, white beans, whatever you want to call it. Okay. There's going to be 400 bean plants in each one of those gardens. It's a lot of freaking beans. I can't eat beans. I can store beans, and I plan on storing beans. Yeah, and somebody said, well, you can just go to the store and buy them. Sure, I can. Okay. I can also grow them. I bought 1 pack of bean seeds last year, right? I grew a bunch of beans last year for this. Why did I do that? Because now this is my seed stock for this year. You know, and now I will have a dozen quarts of dried beans. And so it's only a quart of beans. If you've ever made beans before, dried beans, okay, that's a lot of beans, So, yeah, the beans expand real much, very much. So, all right. Coyotes galore. Pinball, my squash plants, 3 inches tall, are very pale and not growing. Any suggestion on what's going on? I don't know where you are. I'm going to take a guess that you're in the Southwest because coyotes galore. Coyotes, okay. It could be here. I don't know. Okay. I'm going to take a guess. My first guess, because if they're pale, is they are not getting enough nutrition. All right? They do not have enough water. They do not have enough nitrogen. That would be my biggest guess, that you have poor soil that's lacking in nutrients. Other than that, if you're not in the Southwest, my guess is you do not have them in a sunny enough spot. So somehow, some way it's either nutrients or sun, one of the two that's going to cause your paleness. Okie Forge, any thoughts on all the cloud seeding in Texas? Okay, I haven't heard anything about it, so don't really have any thoughts, but we all know cloud, I'm okay with cloud seeding if, hey, we need to get some rain over this place. They're in a drought. I'm good with that. It's when they go over the top and try to completely manipulate weather. Well, we don't want it to rain here. Well, we do want it to rain here. You're not God, people, okay? The earth worked really, really well for millions of years without us messing with the weather. You hear all these people talk about climate change. We've got to do some. We're changing the weather patterns because you're using a lawnmower, but they got all sorts of problems with that, or cow farts. But they've got no problem with flying airplanes through and spraying aluminum through the clouds, or whatever, to cause it to rain. You're causing what what we're not causing, you are causing, and then you're bitching about us. Oh, wait a minute. That's how a liberal operates. Do something and blame everybody else for it. Susan Lather, Pinball, will you give a quick rundown on seeds you should soak overnight before planting? Okay, by this time of year, it's probably too late for peas, but peas would definitely be one. Beans, corn, definitely ones to do. Those are the only ones that I worry about soaking. Now, I will give you another idea here of something else that you can do. And this is with your flat seeds, if you will. So think like if you're planting cucumbers, pickles, pumpkins, melons, anything like that. Take a set of nail clippers and nick a corner of it, to the flat side of the seed, and just take a little corner out of it. It'll help that seed grow a lot faster because that water's got to get in there. You nick that seed, that'll let water inside, because that shell on the outside of the seed, you've probably seen it when your cucumbers come up, especially, that the shell will have spread apart and it'll be sitting on the top of one of your leaves. Okay, nick that so it's easier for the plant to start. That way you don't risk the seeds rotting on the ground. But peas, corn, beans, those are ones to soak. It's not a requirement, okay? It'll just make your seeds germinate a few days faster. P. Fletch, I wonder what the most purchased firearm is in Southern California area. I'm going to keep this one clean. There's just too many easy jokes in that one. We'll just pass. Brenda Bandow, what is Mrs. Pinball's favorite fish in the pond? I hope it's bluegill because that's the only one that's in there. So, No hat tonight, Vinny Brady. Nope, it's Tuesday. Hat night is Saturday night, or if I'm having a bear day. Uh, well, Linda Bop, I just jinxed myself. Yeah, I do that all the time. I wonder how that happened. April Sizemore, have you heard of Steve Quayle? Danny King mentioned him, and I watched him. Very interesting. No, I mean, I know who Danny is, obviously, Deep South Homestead. But Steve Quayle, no, I have not. Jenny DP, I don't remember the backup channel, Pinball Prepping. So it's still there. There's still stuff up there. I haven't posted anything there in months. Uh, Gary the Bulldog Prepper, what are my thoughts on Russia using a small nuclear weapon on NATO countries if NATO sends troops into Ukraine? Then, if that happens, we're all screwed. Okay. Uh, because one turns into two, turns into four, turns into eight, turns into 16. And then by that point, we're all glowing. So, yeah, we see any sort of nuclear weapons used by Russia, and you can guarantee that Europe is going to volley on Moscow, on St. Petersburg, on everywhere quickly. And at that point, all bets are off. So, I mean, got to remember, I'm the one that said I don't think Russia should go into Ukraine. I didn't think that Putin was that stupid. I don't think Putin's stupid enough to use nuclear weapons either, but I was wrong before. So, I don't think it happened, but who am I? Trust me, the Kremlin ain't calling me going, what do you think we should do? So, Mink Yav, if you would make plum moonshine, would you add any grain to my mash? I don't make moonshine, so I can't answer that. I've never done it. I will make plum wine, but yeah, the moonshine part, never done it, so I can't tell you. Let's see. Okay, we already did that question. Do. That's, I know I didn't. Okay. And as soon as I found one that I hadn't read, we shot to the bottom. Somebody asked if I used Epsom salts in my garden. No, I do not. I mean, what's Epsom salt's a source of magnesium, I believe. But very, very rarely are you ever going to have a magnesium deficiency in your soil. But again, this is one of the reasons why I tell everybody test your soil at the beginning of the year before you plant. Because otherwise, if you're putting magnesium in or putting Epsom salts into your garden and you don't need it, you could actually be doing damage to your soil. So, a soil test kit is cheap, and I say it every spring. Whether or not people listen, that's up to them. Okay. But, it's the same thing I talk about chemical fertilizers. People want to put chemical fertilizers in there. That's up to you. Just don't complain when 10 years later you can't grow anything and you test your soil. It's like, holy crap, how much salt do I have in there? What do you think most of those fertilizers are full of? Salt. Remember, for those of you that ever lived up north, you get icy driveways in the winter and you spread rock salt on your driveway to melt the ice, and in the springtime all the grass around the edge of your driveway is dead. Salt. So hey, let's just put some in our garden where we're going to grow food, right? Because my garden will grow fine in salt, my grass die. Same thing. Just saying. Chris Rigos, new house we built our raised beds. Finally, I'm able to grow a bunch of sweet corn with no bugs. There you go. Okay. Now just watch out for the crows and the deer and all the other things you get. And I will give you a tip. You talk about no bugs. Get yourself a bottle of neem oil, NEEM, and buy it on Amazon. And when your corn tassels, okay, put a couple of drops of neem oil into the silks, and that way you will keep all those corn borers out. You know how you always get the tips of your corn like this, you got to cut off this far because it's been eaten by the corn borers. Put the neem oil on there. You won't have to worry about that. I'm assuming you're not growing like 8 million acres of corn, but I mean, if you're like me, you got, 75, what was it, I think 78 or 78 corn stalks, I think is what I've got planned for this year. Yeah. 15 minutes and I can drop a couple of drops of neem oil on each one of them and I'm good. Farm Ranch Homestead, how about an update to the 12 channels video with 12 more recommendations from the suggestions in the comments? You guys can read the comments. Okay. I don't have to do all the work. You guys can do that too. Dawn Stackpole, pinball, it's going down into the 40s this weekend here in Johnson City. Will this cool snap affect the tomatoes? Nah. If it got down below freezing, yes. I mean, my tomatoes are already a foot tall, so it's not like they're going to get stunted growth or anything. If it was going to be 40 for long hauls, no. But I mean, it's still in the 70s and 80s here during the day. I mean, we got up to 89 the other day. I mean, it's May. So, yeah, no, I mean, a little cool weather is not going to hurt. An extended period of cold weather or below freezing, sure. But if we have a below freezing day at this point of the year, then we got a weather. That's a weather anomaly for me, for this area. Julie Mortensen, is it worthwhile to grow onions when they are pretty cheap? Okay, that's your choice. Depends on what you consider cheap. When I'm paying nearly $1 a pound for onions, it's about $5 for a 5-pound bag around here. If you want to call that cheap, okay. I don't know, the 100 pounds of onions I'm going to get for $15, it's a lot cheaper. And I will give you this too. Last year, and I'm an experienced gardener, okay, but learning different. I mean, gardening here in Tennessee is different than it was gardening in Indiana, different than it was gardening in Boston, different than it was gardening in Salt Lake City, different than it was gardening in Las Vegas, okay? And that's the last 20 years of my life. So now I'm here. I've been here. We've now been here for 5 years. Last year was the first year I had good onions. Why? Because I had to learn how to grow them here. Too many people think, oh, gee, I've got seeds and I've got dirt. Cool. I got a garden. No. If that's your thought process, you're going to starve. Okay. You need to learn how to grow what you're going to grow, what works. I mean, again, do you know with onions, your area, do you know whether you're supposed to get short day, intermediate day, or long day onions? Do you even know what that is? Okay. Do you know what types of onions are going to work in your area? Can you grow red, yellow, or white? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Some will do better, some you don't. It's better to find out now what grows in your area than try to figure out where you're counting on it to eat. Oh, I mean, we've tried growing a couple of different types of cucumbers. They don't like it here. Okay. That doesn't happen. So we try different ones. Okay. We've tried growing different kinds of tomatoes. Some do well, some don't. Okay. But that's the thing. You figure out what works and then you keep doing what works. If it don't work, don't keep doing it. Hear that, Democrats? It doesn't work to vote for Democrats. Stop doing it. It's the same as gardening. There you go. Ashley saying purple dead nettle, creeping Charlie, clover, all medicinal. I plant clover all over the place. I mean, red clover and white clover my lawn is red clover, white clover, Kentucky bluegrass, dandelions, and weeds, basically. Okay, crabgrass and dandelions and anything like that. But I mean, when I plant red clover, white clover, and bluegrass. Braid the beard like the old man of the mountain. It ain't that long. It wouldn't work too well. H, what do you think of using condensate water out of a central AC in the garden? Uh, I don't see any problem with it. I mean, I even showed you guys one time I did a video where I took my dehumidifier, ran it, took the water out of it, ran it through my zero water, and drank the water. Okay. So, yeah, it's possible. The only thing I would say, if you're going to do, I would run it through some sort of filter first, because you don't know what chemicals or anything like that could possibly be in there that the filter in the air conditioner has deposited in the water. Maybe you don't need to. I mean, the only thing I'm thinking, you're not getting that much water. Maybe, how much water are you going to get? Maybe enough to water one house plant. You know, I really don't think there's enough water that you're getting out of your AC unit to even make a difference. So, JS Genesis Designs. Per your carnivore diet, I've been making beef suet for my new cooking oil. Thoughts? Good idea. And again, here's a great one. A skill you just got. Because you know what? That nice bottle of vegetable oil or olive oil or the can of Crisco or whatever you use ain't going to be available forever. And what are you going to use for cooking oil when you don't have any? Okay. Well, now you know how to render lard, render fat, make beef suet, whatever it would be. You know, you're learning something. You may not realize it, but you know, that skill may come in handy because there's a lot of people that ain't gonna have a clue. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna make eggs? I don't have any butter. I don't have any oil. I got this. How'd you make that? Let me show you. Brenda H., you're right. You and Mrs. P worked your tails off. I believe this. Y'all are blessed beyond measure. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, was there some luck involved? Sure. We sold two houses in two, or house and a condo in 2 months, both for a profit. Hey, I'm not complaining. Okay. And then we bought this one cheap. I'm not complaining. I'm not going to say it was all we did was nose to the grindstone. No, there was some, I don't want to use the word luck, but some good fortune that we had along the way. But it wasn't like that happened because we didn't think this out. The house we bought on the cheap. The condo we bought out of a foreclosure auction, So we bought this stuff on the cheap, knowing that if we fixed it up, and the house was supposed to be our forever home, the condo was supposed to be a rental property. And then we just got sick of Vegas with whatever, you guys know that story. But, we were able to turn a profit on it. Okay. And great. The profit we turned on that put half of the money down on this house. Okay. There was $100,000 that was out of thin air. That helps. Mountaintop Preps. He grows our okra and we grow his herbs. Yeah, you can keep the okra, you can keep the herb, the herb. You can keep that too. I know you don't do that, but 8:58. Okay, we're close. Let's see. Carolyn Roberts, what type of pressure cooker do I have? Is there a way to can green beans without a pressure canner? What do we have? God, I can't. It's a Miro or a Presto. I got a couple of them. They're not expensive ones. They're like $79 or whatever it is. They work fine. People are like, oh, you got to have an all-American canner. Maybe. Okay. $400 canner, $79 canner, both can food. Okay. Not overly concerned about it. Do I have extra parts for it? Yes, I do. Okay. So great. I got 2 canners and extra parts for the price that somebody's got an all-American canner. Good for them. Is there a way to can green beans without a pressure canner? I have never tried to water bath green beans. I am not the canning expert. I've said that many times. You want to know all the canning experts? Go talk to Lisa at Sutton's Days. Okay, that's who I go to when I got questions. I've been canning for a few years. That's it. Last one here. Doris P. I have ringed my onions for years with my finger. No special tool required. Okay, yeah, I can see how that would work too. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, he just took it with a bent knife. I mean, I can see go around with your finger, go around with a spoon, whatever you want to, all you're looking is for something that you can get some of the dirt away from the base. That's about it. So, all right, guys, that's 9 o'clock. Off to go see Jason at Angry Prepper. Have a good evening. Pinball out.